What's up y'all, and welcome back to my channel. And this video is going to be titled like a get ready with me quarantine rant / reflection video. Note that it's like 3 o'clock in the morning on a Thursday night. Well, technically it's Friday now, and then I'm going absolutely nowhere to be looking this cute, but nonetheless it's going to be less of a tutorial and more of a watch me do my makeup while I rant or reflect on life as it is now and some things that I realized during my time quarantining during this pandemic. It's funny, I was talking to my friend and was kind of motivated to push out a video like this where it's just a raw conversation about, well, not necessarily about me per se, but like about my little quarantine experience and some realizations I've come to and reflections I've made about myself in the midst of it. So that's what this video is going to be about. Some topics I'm going to touch on is like growing up and talking about alone time and being okay with being with yourself or being by yourself, enjoying your own company, and things of that nature. So that's what I'm going to be ranting about in this video as you see me doing this kind of like a mock soft glam video. I was trying to do more of like a sunset, like a orangey cut crease shimmer vibe, but it started looking kind of like the soft glam video. So I guess if you wanted the actual tutorial or another like get ready with me type of video, then you could also look at the soft glam tutorial if you wanted like a closer or more in-depth explanation on how to do this look. So I guess I'm gonna start by saying that on the physical aspect of things, it's been kind of all over the place as far as like my sleeping schedule and my eating schedule. Like one day I'll be asleep all day long and I'll stay up all night long, or like the next day I just nap at weird times, honestly. And as far as like my eating schedule, I guess because my sleeping schedule is off, my eating schedule is off too. So like sometimes I won't eat until like a good 8 o'clock at night, and next minute I'm eating all day long. So like, I don't know, it's a little weird as far as like physically, but also it's just forcing myself to do little workout routines. I follow like Chloe Ting on YouTube, and I do her little 10-15 minute workouts just to keep myself active. And that's basically the toll it took on me physically, like just having to force myself to be active rather than to just like be really idle all the time. And don't get me wrong, it's okay to relax and be idle, but after some time, like especially I know like the quarantine period is supposed to be like 14 days long, especially like in a time like that, I felt like laying down all day long wasn't gonna be too good for me and like the habits that I formed for myself. So that's just something I did like on the physical aspect of things. But like besides the physical aspect of things, looking on the mental aspects and my reflections, I would say that one thing that I thought about is like I'm coming to the realization that I'm really growing up and I'm really becoming more of an independent individual, and like the whole adulting thing and things that come with it. Note, I've always had like an independent spirit to begin with. Like I've always had this I can do it by myself mentality, or I don't really need help. Not saying that truly categorizes an individual as being independent, but like realizing it goes deeper than that. In some ways, like being able to literally shape your own environment. For me, as little as, oh, this is how I want my apartment set up, like I'm ordering different things to give me like the feel that I feel like it would make me more comfortable. Another thing, like who I surround myself by and the things I surround myself by. Just things of that nature, like just realizing that things are being more in my control, I would say, now that I'm getting older. Whereas as you're growing up, things are kind of like set up for you, and now it's like you're setting them up for yourself. Another thing, as far as growing up in this adulting thing, just thinking about how I literally go grocery shopping now. I've done this last year, but like I guess now I'm sitting back and literally thinking on and just being able to process like, wow, I'm really growing up. Like I'm really sitting here like buying chicken and things of that nature and cooking in my own apartment, my own kitchen, and controlling what I eat in my house. And it's just funny just thinking about how I'm literally growing up. And other things like I'm doing research and like picking my own classes, and like I said, now this is being set up for you, like how things were set up for you before, and now you're setting it up for yourself. Like you get to control what classes you want to take and what you want to learn about and what you want to do research on, creating business plans. Like, my friends are entrepreneurs. Like, it's just so cool to watch people and like think about how we're all growing up. And it's just even, I'm thinking too, like, had it not been for quarantine, like, this whole YouTube channel wouldn't probably have even started. I started thinking about how I could reach people with my talents and things of that nature, and just strategizing who I could help and just different things of that nature. And like things that might help me even growing up and like getting into the future. So that was just another thing I thought about during this quarantine, still relating to growing up. Another factor, going back to like my relationships with my family, even now I'm thinking like the conversation shifts between like when I was younger versus now and I'm in college. Like going back, like with my mom, I would say growing up, like, you know, you always see your parents as like as disciplinary figures, and like of course they're always like me and my mom, we've always been cool, you know, but like I've always thought of her like as a more in a disciplinary way growing up, like, oh, don't do this, you'll get in trouble, things of that nature, or like, oh, don't do this, you won't like this, and you know, things like that. Whereas now it's like, okay, our conversations have shifted, and it's like this is more of like my homegirl, my bestie now. We be talking about her day. We've always talked about, like, she's always like, you know, come to me and like talks about like, oh, this is what happened today and things of that nature. So like me and my mom, we've always been cool, but like just now thinking on like how things have kind of changed a little bit for the better, of course, and how our relationships changed. Same thing with my brother. Like, we grew up like literally just growing up together. Like, he's 2 years younger than me. He's going off to college now, and even like the conversation shifts in that type of way where it's like, okay, we grew up talking about like WWE and like things of that nature, and now we're sitting like, even like back to like, oh, we used to argue about who had more fries in their bag and things of that nature. Like, yeah, we still talk about that stuff here and there, but like now it's like we're really talking about like the things he likes to do and like what he wants to do with his life, and like just it's really cool thinking about it. Like, it's nice to see that, like, to reflect on the fact that these things are happening, because you know life is very go, especially in like outside of like when this pandemic, everybody was just kind of like on go, and this kind of forced us to sit back and think about things and compromise and just do a lot of things we didn't think we would have to do. Now, as far as this next point, I would say it's kind of like one of the biggest things I've realized or reflected on during this quarantine period, and it's learning how to enjoy your own company and being comfortable with being by yourself. And personally for me, I think that this is really important because I would consider myself as more of an extrovert than an introvert. Like, I've definitely had both qualities, but I think pre-COVID that my extrovert side was definitely exercised a lot more. Like, I was spending a lot of time with people and my friends and just always on go and like reaching out and things of that nature. Whereas quarantine or COVID, this whole pandemic has me like at home and like basically exploring more of my introvert type qualities and just learning how to be comfortable with being in one spot, being not necessarily idle, because like you could be in your room and doing 50 things, but like just learning how to be like in one place and being comfortable with being by myself. And like I said, I don't think it was something I struggled with. It was just something I never had to exercise, I would say. So like it was just like me figuring out the things I like to do or watch and like different things I wanted to learn for myself, and I feel like I wanted to improve within myself during this time. And even like now, I would say that it's crazy because time has really flown, because we started this thing out in March, it's August now, and I don't know, it hasn't felt like a very long time to me. Like, it kind of flew by. even now, like, okay, I just moved up into my apartment. I go to school in New York. I'm from Maryland. And because of that, they're making me quarantine for 14 days. I've been here for almost 2 weeks now, and it hasn't even felt like it. I feel like I just got here the other day. So, like, time really flies. Like, I guess, like, I don't know if you could say time really flies when you're having fun, but, like, I haven't been bored. So I think that was, like, a big thing for me, just being comfortable with that and being by myself, like I said, and just enjoying my own company. And then as far as, like, connecting with my friends, it's not like I haven't connected with my friends. Like, you know, there's still FaceTime, social media. We still connect and send each other things and things of that nature. But I think it's really important to take your alone time. And I think this is something that it forced me to do. So I do appreciate that aspect of it. And yeah. Then the next thing I thought about is how I should prioritize my present, like what's happening in the now, versus like how to set up my future, especially in like my age. I'm 20 years old right now. I'm a junior in college. And it's like I'm at this point in time where it's like, okay, I should definitely be setting up for my future. But like, how do I do that without letting time, like letting the present, letting the now like escape me type of thing? So like, okay, present, I'll say, example, like me, I have to make sure I'm doing well in my classes now, making sure that like I'm spending time and I'm connecting with people I need to connect with now, and doing all these things that I don't make sure, so I make sure that my youth doesn't escape me, and just all these different things. So like, okay, yeah, that's the present tense. But like, as far as like for my future, like I said, this is a pivotal time, like my junior year, then it's my senior year, and then it's like, okay, now what? Like, okay, grad school, or are you going to go on and do what you want to do? So, like, just what do I need to apply for? And, like, as far as internships and, like, which experiences what do I need to experience and get out the way? So, like, my life can be set up how I want it to be set up on a career level, maybe even on a relationship standpoint or relational standpoint, like, of course, what's going to be is going to be. And, yeah, like, things are going to fall into place on its own. But, like, just thinking about it, you know, having time to sit back and think about, like, my life. You know, everybody kind of has a general expectation for how they think their life is going to go. Like, you know, when you're young, you're like, oh, I want to make sure I'm married by, like, 25 and, like, have kids young before 30 and, like, things of that nature. So, like, I'm 20 years old right now. I'm not saying I'm looking for a husband or anybody of that nature, but it's just funny to think about, like, how we had these expectations growing up, and we still kind of have these expectations for ourselves, and, like, life is kind of moving at its own course. So that's just something I thought about as well. Like, it's just, and even, like, looking at people that you know, and, like, their different situations, and, like, balancing where we find that balance. So I think that was just another thing that has been weighing on my mind during this time. But yeah, in all of it, I would say that I'm appreciative of the time that I had to be at home, even though it was kind of like for a bad reason, you know, the pandemic and all. But I think that bright side of things is the fact that, like, we were able to sit down and assess our situations and figure out, like, maybe hopefully that you thought about, like, how you could improve as a person, or like how you can improve in your situations, and just how to, or like how to relax, like that you learned how to relax, or that you learned, just like I said, learn how to be by yourself and enjoy your own company. And just, I hope that you learned something during this time to yourself. And during this time, like, whether it's like, okay, even thinking about, like, how the whole pandemic and how this thing spread, like, just thinking about how your actions, there's a consequence for your actions, or like how your actions affect other people in general. So it's just several things that could have been, it's just several things that, like, you know, I thought about during this time that I wanted to share with y'all. But yes, let me know what you think about some of the points I brought up. If you related to something, if you wanted to add to it, if you just wanted to contribute to the conversation. I'd love to have a conversation with y'all. You can leave it in the comment section. Hit me up on Instagram in my DMs. Like, we could just have a nice conversation about these things if you're interested. But yeah, if you enjoyed this video, thumbs it up. I appreciate y'all listening to me talk and do my makeup. And yeah, make sure you subscribe so that you don't miss out on any of my next videos. I post every Tuesday. And yeah, thank you again for watching. See you soon.